Namaste. Welcome to this second beginner's video where we will be going through some standing poses. We're going to revisit sun salutation first to warm up and to prepare. And then we're going to be moving into some standing poses, classic standing poses of yoga, and some balancing poses. And then we'll be coming onto the ground for some seated poses and then a final Shavasana. So welcome to this practice. Let's come to the top of the mat. Now I'm going to start off in mountain pose and start to engage with Ujjayi breathing. So looking straight ahead, and if you want to, you can bring the fingers to the throat to activate your Ujjayi breath. Now, as you feel the breath, notice that you can take your attention inwards as you hear the breath as well and feel the texture and the sensation. This is a way of focusing the mind directly onto the present moment. It's like a meditation, because what we're doing here is completely focusing on the feeling and the sensation of the breath, and that brings the mind into our practice. So the purpose of yoga really is to unite mind, body and spirit. Yoga is a word that comes from the Sanskrit yug, which means to tie, to connect, to unite. So yoga means to tie, to unite our mind, our body and our spirit. So let's start off with a sun salutation A. Inhale and draw the arms all the way up, palms meet. Maybe you look up at the thumbs. Good. And as you exhale, palms down the midline to the heart space, forward fold, exhale. Halfway lift as you inhale. Step back to plank as you exhale. Inhale, pausing here. Exhale, bring the knees down, belly, chest, as you lift your chest forwards. Chin touches. Cobra pose, inhale. Press back to downward dog, exhale. Chin is in and you're looking at the space between the feet. We'll stay here for around 2 more breaths. Keep pressing the hands down into the mat. Spread the fingers wide and try and really press down evenly all the way around the edges of the fingers. See that your toes are facing forwards. The heels are hiding behind the toes as you look at your feet. Now if you feel like you're slipping, which sometimes I do, I'll shorten my stride, push it to the ground and press my hips up and back. The thighs are pressing back, the hip points are pressing in and the belly button's lifting in slightly. Bend the knees, inhale, and as you exhale, walk your feet to the top of the mat. Hands to your shins, inhale, halfway lift. Forward fold as you exhale. Let's rise to stand as we inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, hands return to the heart space. Good. Now before we move into our standing poses, we're just going to do a standing back bend. So place your palms on the back of your pelvis. And as you do that, draw the belly back so there's tone. And you want to keep that tone in the belly here. Now draw the tailbone down. And as you hug the elbows in, imagine there's a beach ball behind you that you want to squeeze between the elbows. And then imagine there's a heartstring right on your sternum and it's being lifted and pulled up towards the sky. So not very strongly, but you want to feel that sense of lift, and that expands the chest. So as you breathe, there's a feeling of inflating the lungs and lifting them towards the rib cage. Good, take one more breath. And we're looking sort of straight ahead. We don't want to take the head all the way back because that's a bit too strong for the neck. So I quite like to have my chin slightly in. So this is a standing back bend. The hip points are lifting into the body, and that's going to help to keep this natural curve in your lower back. So let's take one more breath. Now as we exhale, we're going to come into a forward fold known as Uttanasana. This time, we've been bringing our hands to our shins. We're going to loop the fingertips around the big toes. And so this is a bowed forward fold. Straightening the arms, lifting belly off the thighs. Inhale, halfway lift. Now take care not to have your shoulders shrugging into the ears. That's not great. So pull the shoulder heads back so your collarbones move down towards the belly. Good. As you exhale, forward fold, letting your head hang down, chin in, and then taking the elbows out to the side. I like to wing them in. and hug them into the outer shins. Now, if it's tricky to have straight legs here, which of course it can be, hamstrings can be really tight, just soften through the knees and keep them bent. So this is a standing forward fold, and this stretches the whole of the back body. Good. So as you inhale, lift your chest, straighten the arms, bring your hands to your shins. Now engage the belly here. We're going to rise all the way to stand. Inhale, circle the arms all the way up, palms meet, hands to the heart as you exhale. Well done. Now we're going to be coming into a nice warrior sequence. So this is a standing pose. I'm going to bring my mat forwards a little bit to help. For alignment, we're going to use the edge of the mat to find our warrior. So if you take your right foot forwards here, and the edge of your foot's in line with the outer edge of your mat, bring your hands to your hips and go a little bit longer on the legs. Now, the distance between heel to heel is about one leg's distance. It could be 1.5 meters, something like that. Now, as you bring your hands to your hips, bend into that right knee. Track the center line of the knee with the second and third toe, and then wrap your right hip underneath you so that right hip drops down, but press out through the left heel. We want our spine to be completely vertical. Right now, our torso is at an angle, so just draw that left shoulder back to find that your shoulders are also in line with the long edge of your mat. Extend your arms long. Now press down through 4 corners of the feet that we want to stake them down, and then imagine you're lifting up through the crown. That's going to help you to firm up and tone the belly, and that will support your pose. Good. It's very easy to feel like the shoulders are lifting up towards the ears. So what we're going to do here is spin the palms up towards the sky, and what you'll feel is the shoulder tips, that's the scapulars, are actually rooting down, and that helps to feel like the shoulders are drawing down the back. Nice feeling. And then the crown of the head is lifting up. Now as you exhale, draw the elbows in. So we're squeezing those shoulder blades down. And then as you inhale, turn the palms down and stretch the arms long. We're going to do that 2 more times. Exhale. And inhale, open. Exhale. Inhale. Now extending the arms long, we're going to turn and look at that middle finger, the right middle finger, and equally stretch the left middle finger back. So you're aware of the arm behind you. In fact, just take a little look. So sometimes that arm floats down, but we want the arms to be hands in line with the shoulders. We're going to reverse the warrior. So keeping that right knee bent, lift the right palm up towards the sky and let the left hand float down. This is what we call reverse warrior. Good. Nice. As we exhale, we come back to warrior 2. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, and you might even turn and look back behind you. Good. Exhale. Very nice. We're going to bring the hands to the hips and straighten the front leg. We're going to shorten our stride a little bit and come into a pose called triangle pose. So I've shortened my stride. Back heel is in line with that edge of the mat. I'm going to turn those toes in slightly at an angle. Good. Front leg is straight with the knee soft. Now reach your right arm forwards with the palm turning inwards, and then pressing down through the feet, strongly engage the core. Reach forwards, really get nice and long, like someone's trying to hand you something like a baton, right? You're going to try to grab it here. Now right hand will come onto the shin here. So in this first triangle pose, we want to keep quite long and lifted. Now turn and roll that left shoulder up to the sky. Hug the hips in towards that long edge of the mat. Lean your chest back slightly. And then from here, the left hand reaches up towards the sky. This is triangle pose. Now our necks can be very tight. I want you to imagine that you're reaching something. There's a top shelf and you're trying to reach up and grab something from the top shelf. You get this beautiful stretch here on the side body. Keep pressing through the left heel, which roots and grounds you, so that you can anchor yourself to lift up even higher. Good. And then we're going to turn the head to look down at the right foot. Good. Now you'll see my right hand is around the knee or just below. Take a deep breath in and then slide the hand down a little bit. We're going to lean down a little bit So fingertips touch the ankle, good. And as we inhale, we're going to slide up. Let's do that a couple more times. That's going to help you really engage through your core. Exhale, slide the hands down. Inhale, slide the hand up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Now I'm going to rise all the way to stand. Bend into that knee, back to the warrior two. Okay, brilliant. We're going to do the other side. So straighten the front leg, lift the right toes, and as you pivot on the heel, bring your hands to your hips. I'm going to take a nice little forward fold here. We're ready. So I'm going to align my feet. Heels are on the back edge of the mat. And then we're going to hinge at the hips. So as you hinge at the hips, soften through the knees a little bit, bring your hands down to the ground. And just lean forward so that you can feel the weight come towards the toes a little. This could be enough for you in your forward fold. So we're going to place the left hand flat onto the ground. Sorry, the right hand flat. It's going to look opposite to you. And then we're going to float the left arm up. And then as you exhale, bring the left hand down. And as you inhale, take the right arm up. So we'll switch. So this is a forward fold twist. We're pushing into the hands, maybe coming up onto the fingertips, maybe bending into that right knee, and that gives you a bit more spin. Straighten the right knee, bring the left hand down. Maybe fingertips as you inhale, lift your chest, bending into the left knee and spinning your ribs open as you twist. Now as you bring the right hand down, walk your hands back, chin is in, and look back behind the legs. And we're trying to forward fold, bringing the weight to the toes. And just take a look at your arches and see that they're lifting, they're not dropping in. That helps you to lift the inner seam of the legs up towards the top of the legs. Good. There is a bit of balancing going on here. Good. And as you inhale, lift your chest, walk the hands forwards, press down through the feet, hands to your hips, rise up to stand. Now we're going to do warrior on the other side. So as you can turn your left toes to face the back of the mat. Go a little bit longer, so I'm going to scoot my heel and my foot back. Again, I'm on the long edge of the mat to find my balance, my alignment. Bending into that left knee, tracking the center line with the second toe. I want to really imagine my spine is completely vertical, that the tailbone could drop and land on the edge of that long edge of my mat. Extending the left arm forwards, and then taking that right shoulder back so the shoulders are in line with the long edge of the mat. Reaching out nice and long, arms are wide apart. Good. Now we're going to turn the palms up as you inhale. Feel those shoulder blades slide down the back. That's external rotation of the shoulders. That keeps that lovely open. As you exhale, draw the elbows in. As you inhale, extend the arms. We tend to be looking forwards at the same direction as the left foot, or you can look straight to the horizon if you like, that's easier for you. Good, let's breathe, exhale and inhale. We're going to reverse the warrior. Inhale, float that left arm up and the right arm down. Good. Come back as you exhale. Warrior two. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Good. Let's come back to warrior two. We're going to straighten that front leg. Now I'm going to shorten the stride for triangle. This just seems to help to come into a shorter stride with the legs. Okay. Reach your left arm forwards, right hand to your hip. And then imagine there's something in front of you. You just really want to get hold of it. Now that left knee is bending slightly. And then we're going to bring the left hand onto the shin. Roll this right shoulder up towards the sky. And as you do that, you're opening your chest. Your ribs are revolving back. There's a twist here in the spine and the right arm is reaching up. So remember, we're trying to reach for something on that top shelf. Good, and you're pressing through that right heel to anchor so that you can be steady and get a little bit taller. Take a deep breath in. Good. As you exhale, reach the left fingertips towards the ankle. Keep reaching that right hand up. And as you inhale, flow up. As you exhale, reach down. As you inhale, slide that left hand back. Good. And we'll do that one more time. Good. And then come back up. Bend into that left knee. Good. Warrior two. So we'll shimmy that foot back, coming back. So the stride does change a little bit between warrior two and triangle. Good. And then we're going to straighten that front leg and come back to that wide-legged forward fold. We're going to bring the hands to the hips, hinging at the hips, bringing the hands down onto the mat. Now this time we're going to come into a bind. We're going to grab hold of the big toes. So bring the thumb down onto the mat to support you. Loop your peace fingers, index finger, middle finger, and then thumbs are rooted here. Straighten the arms, inhale, look forwards at the long edge of your mat. And as you exhale, bend the elbows out to the sides, bowing down. And then as you do that, I like to draw my elbows back. That keeps my collarbones nice and broad. Good, and it's a really big stretch on the hamstrings. It's very easy to lean the way back into the heels, but that will kind of strain the attachment points of the hamstrings. So if you can lean forwards a bit and just bring the weight into the thumbs here, and that's going to help you. You have to be brave because you are hanging upside down. Just do your best. And then notice if you've held the breath. Take a deep breath in. See if you can connect to your ujjayi. One more breath. Now as we inhale, we're going to lift the chest. Slide the hands out. Use the hands, bring the hands forward for support. Bring your hands to your hips. Rise up. We're going to step the feet together. Whew. Now take a breath, take a pause. This is another variation of Tadasana, or mountain pose. All right, so we're doing this with the toes together, slight gap between the heels, and we're hugging in the inner seams of the legs. Good. We're ready for a pose called chair pose. All right, this is a standing pose, a deep squat. So I'll show you from the side. What we're going to do here as we inhale is sweep the arms up, squeeze the knees together, and imagine there's a chair behind you that you're going to sit your hips down. The main thing here is that you're drawing the weight back into the heels while you press the toes down. At the same time, lift the hip points into the body, and what that does is lengthen your tailbone back and lift the arms, turning the palms up. This is chair pose. Now I find if I turn my palms up, my shoulder blades will draw down. Whereas sometimes what happens is if you lift your arms, the shoulders hug up towards the ears. It's not a bad thing, but it just feels more comfortable to have the shoulders down. So just see how you can play with that action. Look down and see that you can see your toes. So that will be a clue that you've got the weight back into the heels. Great, that's absolutely brilliant. Take one more breath. Good, and as we exhale, we're going to push down through the legs, interlace the fingers, find that lovely Tadasana spine, lifting the hip points up, rooting the tailbone down, and now stretching the palms up towards the sky. Good. Now take the palms together, interlacing the fingers, and I'll just turn towards you so that you can see. We'll go into a side bend to the left. Now that's going to open up the right side of the body, and I'll just mirror you here. Good. Now just pause and stay here. This is Parsva sideways moon. It's a lateral bend, okay? We're just stretching out the side body. Now as you do this, you might notice that the shoulders feel quite tight up towards the ears. That's fine, that's pretty normal. But what you can do is soften, bend the elbows. Good, soften that shoulder away, and then straighten the arms from there and press that right hip outwards. Inhale, come back to center. Good, we're going to float the arms down to relax the shoulders. And just pause, just gathering your breath, your attention, your focus as we get ready for the other side. Inhale, float the arms up. Stretch the arms all the way up, and then we'll side bend to the right so that you're opening up the left side of the body. There is a tendency to want to twist the torso here, the ribs, but if you can, and you notice that, one shoulder will come forwards, and just roll it back. And you might want to visualize that there's a wall behind you, a flat wall that you can rest those shoulder blades. And that's going to help you to open up. It's important for us to do these side bends because the ribs can get really sticky. And what we're doing is we're opening them up so that we can get a little bit more breath. So take one more breath.
And then inhale, rise back up. We're going to sit straight down into chair pose. So as you sit your hips down, lift the hip points into the body, arms flow up. Good. Look down to see the toes. We're actually going to come into a twist. Let's bring the palms together in front of us and we'll twist to the right. So paddle your hands to the outside of the right knee. Turn to look to the right. So your pelvis is staying exactly as it is. Inhale, lift the arms, stay in your seat. And as you exhale, you turn and look to the left. Inhale back to center. And as you exhale, bring the hands, the paddles to the right. Now see if you can open up your left arm like a wing and then turn the palm up as though somebody wanted to give something to you in your hand. As you exhale, bring the palms together. Inhale, lift the paddle up to center line. Exhale, off to the left. Same thing, we're going to open the arm out like a wing and then turn your palm up as though somebody wanted to give you something. Exhale, bring the palms back together. Inhale, rise back up to stand. Interlace the fingers and turn the palms straight up. Good, so we're in a nice little back bend here. Now turn the palms together and we'll do the side bend again. We're going to open up the right side of the body. Exhale. Inhale back to center and then back to the other side. Coming back to the center, float your arms down, Tadasana. Lovely. Now we're going to do a standing balancing pose. This is our traditional, what we call tree pose, and we'll start off with the feet hip width apart. Now for balancing poses in yoga, we use what we call a drishti. Drishti is an eye gaze that we can pin our focus upon. So if you look in the horizon, you can find one point in the distance that's not moving that you can rest your eye gaze upon. Now, whilst you're fixating your eyes on that resting drishti, you can start to bring the weight into the left foot, bending the right knee and reaching the right hand down on the inner thigh. Now, picking up the foot, the ankle, pressing the foot to the inseam of the thigh. Wobbles are allowed. And if you can keep hold of the foot to the thigh. Engage that left glute and then bring the hands to your heart space. So finding your eye gaze, imagine that you're rooting your tailbone down and lifting up through the crown. We're going to reach the arms up. Good. Now, one of the things that tends to happen in this tree pose is the right hip can hook up a little bit. It will do a little, but not to worry about that. But if you're leaning to the left, then you've lost your alignment. We want a nice straight spine. Take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, bring the hands to your heart. Release your leg and just stretch it long. Kick out. And then rest your foot back down to the ground. Bring your hands to your hips. You can also feel the alignment of your hip points. Lean the weight into the right foot. We're going to pick up the left. So I'm just mirroring you, grabbing hold of the foot to the inseam of the leg and bringing your hands to your heart. It is a balancing act. You know, it's kind of dynamic, even though you're in stillness. Find your drishti. Connect to your ujjayi. And when you're ready on your next inhale, lift your arms up towards the sky and feel that beautiful stretch along the whole of the body. And you'll feel a dual action. We're pressing down through the right foot so that that energy is moving downwards to ground. We're lifting up through the fingertips so that energy is lifting, rising. Lovely. And here we are in the center, completely balanced. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart. Release your knee, kick out, stretch the leg and come back to ground. We're going to come down onto the ground. We're going to do that through a squat. So if you take your feet a bit wider, lift your arms up towards the sky and we're going to come and sit down in a deep squat. Now, if you find that your heels lift up, you can always bring the hands down and just work the feet out a little bit wider until the feet come down. Now that can take a while. So if you find that your heels don't come down to the ground, that's fine. You can come up on the tippy toes and work with a bit of balance here. Taking the elbows out to the knees and then pressing the knees in. And it might feel a bit precarious, but that's really going to help to open up your feet. Your toes will spread beautifully and you can balance on the balls of the toes as you see here as I'm lifting up and balancing here. Okay. But eventually the heels will come down. Now we're going to come into a little twist here. So we'll extend the left forearm in front of the left shin. Bring your right hand onto the knee and just lift your hips up a little bit so you're in a kind of sumo squat. And then reach your right arm out towards the sky. As you exhale, sit your hips back down, come back into the squat. This is Malasana. Extend your right forearm in front of the right shin, fingertips are on the ground, and that supports you, gives you an anchor. Left hand on the knee, lift the hips up, and it float the left arm out like a wing. As we exhale, we come back down into that squat. Now we're going to take the hands back and sit the hips all the way down and bring the soles of the feet together. This is what we call Baddha Konasana. Baddha Konasana. This is a bound angle pose. I'll show it to you from the side. Now sometimes if you come to sit and you feel like you're rolling your spine back, that means you're sitting more to the back of your sit bones. So we want to bring the hips forwards, lift up through the spine, and then the hip points lean forward so we can hinge at the hips. And we're already in a bit of a forward fold here. So as you lean forwards with your spine nice and long, lift your crown. Some of you might get your heels a bit closer into the body. You might thread the toes in the palms, lift your spine up nice and tall. Take a deep breath. So it's a nice hip opener as well. And we're going to lean forwards into a forward fold. So as you do that, your elbows come down onto the inner thighs and you can draw the chin in. And we'll just breathe here. Now, if you root the belly back, that will support your lower back, so you might lengthen forwards a little bit more with that base. Take a deep breath in. And then when you're ready, rise up. We'll take a little back bend here, but keep the feet as is. Now bring your fingertips back. Maybe the palms are flat, and as you lean back, lift your chest and expand it, squeezing the shoulder blades. And this is a nice little back bend here. And we're wanting to lift up out of the root. So you want to lengthen your spine, and that's going to help you to open your heart. And the chin is in, and just look straight ahead. It's a lovely feeling, this. Now we're going to extend the legs straight forwards, keep this heart space opening and the feet are together, and then find the alignment of your spine. Bring in the hands down beside you. Good. Now just rub the legs a little bit, give them a little massage, and in fact bend your knee and just press the muscles on the back of the legs. Now as you rub the legs, that's going to help you to root down a little bit more. And just compare the leg you've just done with the one that you haven't. Notice how that feels. So we'll do the other side. I find this a really nice way to ground and root the legs for the forward fold, because we're going to come into an intense west stretch. Now shimmy your hips back a little bit. As you do a little shuffle back, what you'll notice here is that your rotation of the hips forwards is going to help you and assist you with that forward fold. So let's lift the arms, inhale, and then place the palms beside you, look forwards. Inhale, lift your chest, and then as you exhale, see if you can fold over the legs. Try and engage the legs strongly. Your thighs are engaged and you're pressing the backs and the hamstrings down. Belly button's lifting back into the body, so you're drawing that belly button in. Looking forwards, maybe you can reach your feet. And that gives you a stretch across your back, shoulders remain down, away from the ears. We'll take that nice Ujjayi breath. And maybe close your eyes, start to take your attention inwards. So this is a practice of focus and concentration as we move the body through these different shapes. Stretching the body in all different ways, forward folds, back bends, side bends, twists. Good, inhale, rise up. Okay, so we're going to come down onto the back. Bend the knees, come back to your constructive rest, feet directly beneath the knees. And what we're going to do here is what we call dynamic bridge. So using the anchoring of the feet and the strength of the legs, arms are beside you. As you inhale, lift the hips up. Now if you want to, you could hold the edges of your mat to support you with your arms as you lift your hips up a little bit higher. This is a wonderful back bend called bridge pose.
As you exhale, roll your spine from the top all the way down. And we'll do that a couple of more times. Inhale, lift your hips up. Now, we're not squeezing the back of the neck down. There's actually a gap. You can feel the top of the spine, the atlas bone, but then the neck is free and you're just resting on the back of your head. So let's do that one more time. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, you come down. Very nice. Excellent. Now take the arms a little bit wider in a V shape so that your shoulder blades are flat on the ground. Shimmy the shoulders apart a little bit so you can feel that space between the shoulders on the thoracic spine. We're going to do a gentle twist to the right, knees to the right. They may not touch the ground, that's fine. This is a windscreen wiper twist. Knees to the left. You're going to rock back and forth like this. Now with your knees to one side, just turn and roll your head to the opposite side so you get a nice spiral up the spine. As you inhale, head back to center, knees back to center, and then turn your head to the other side. We'll just do that one more time on each side. I'm going to finish off the way that we started the first video, which is to come into happy baby. So hug your knees in and grab hold of the outer feet and just roll a little bit from side to side. Now the pose that we're going to do finally is Shavasana, and this is the pose that we end our practice within. Each practice, this is Shavasana. We're extending the legs straight out, flat back, and then if you want to, you can have something underneath the knees. But if you can, just spread your body out in all directions into the space around you. And this is a relaxation pose, Shavasana, corpse pose. We're going to stay and breathe with our Ujjayi breath for at least 3 breaths. Now usually this will be a pose that you rest in for at least 5 minutes. And if you have the time, go ahead and just stay in your Shavasana, but we're just going to take 2 more rounds to finish off our practice. And just completely letting go. It is the pose for letting go. It's a resting pose after the whole practice. And then when you're ready, bend your knees, feet flat on the ground, and then take a moment to hug one knee in at a time. Squeeze the knees in, give yourself a hug, and just rock a little bit from side to side just to ease your back. And then we're going to roll onto our side, come up to sit, and close our practice together. So as you come into a cross-legged seat, cross the shins, sitting up nice and tall, bring your hands into your Namaste Mudra at your heart, close your eyes, and just notice how you feel from your practice. Well done. Namaste.